everyone, and welcome. This is the second of two webinars that GSA is hosting to try and answer any technical questions and help all of our speakers with their technical setup for the annual scientific meeting next week. So today's Tech Check webinar, my name is Andrew Alex, and I'm with GSA. I am the Meetings and Programs Manager with GSA, and today we are working with Falcon, who's our partner who will be helping us kick off the annual scientific meeting with technical support throughout next week, this week. Some of you have already worked with them in the past. I want to give a moment for Trent to introduce himself.
Howdy there, everybody. My name is Trent Haynes. I'm the secondary account manager. I'm working alongside Javi Laredo, who will be joining us shortly. Alongside me, I have Bo, and I also have Gunnar, who's going to be working alongside us, helping with us today.
And I'm also joined by Megan with GSA.
Hey everyone, I'm Megan McCutcheon. I'm the Director of Publishing and Professional Resources at GSA.
And today we are going to begin our session with a brief video presentation prepared by Falcon to give you all a little step-by-step guide on some of the technical setup aspects of how to present to make sure we have a really great show. Then afterward, we will be answering all of your questions. This is a great opportunity if you have questions, not just about how to use Zoom or how to technically present your slides and science, but also if you have any questions about the program, how to get in, how to present. That's what Megan and I are here for, to answer any questions you may have as a speaker. So feel free to put your questions in the chat, where there's also a Q&A box as well. So we will get to answering questions as soon as we are done with our brief video presentation.
How's it going, everyone? This is Charlie Collier with Falcon Events, and this is going to be a quick video overview on some basic Zoom settings and best practices to help you get ready for your event. Starting off, we're going to go over audio and lighting, the two most important aspects of looking and sounding your best. First off is audio. Obviously, we want to remove any sort of background noise that might be in your environment. So pets, family members, roommates, you want to make sure all of those are outside of the room that you're going to be in during your live event. Second, if you have any sort of plug-in earbuds or headphones, that is also recommended. Bluetooth is okay, although we try to avoid Bluetooth because battery and connection issues sometimes arise, and you don't want that to drop the audio signal during a live event. So anything that is physically plugged into your computer is recommended if you're going to be using earbuds or headphones. If you're going to be using the audio straight off of your computer or webcam, background noise is the main thing you need to look at. That includes anything like fans, air conditioners, or anything that could create a buzz or hum in the background. Once your audio is sounding good, we want to go ahead and focus on lighting. The main thing with lighting is we want to avoid backlighting. So any lamps, overhead lights, large windows, anything that is creating a light source directly behind you, we want to eliminate. That could mean closing blinds, turning off lights, or positioning yourself to where you don't have any light source behind you, and ideally, the light source would be in front of you. So moving a lamp to where it's directly in front of you, directly in front of your computer, facing a window, anything to where you get a nice even lighting, and avoiding any side light or backlight that would cast odd shadows or make your image look like more of a silhouette and less evenly lit. So even lighting and eliminating background noise, those are the two main things that can make your image and audio quality stand out. Also, as far as background is concerned, we recommend sitting against just a simple blank wall, avoiding anything like bookshelves or anything that would be distracting as far as a background is concerned. So the closer you can get to just a blank background, being lit from the front and eliminating background noise is ideal. Now, we're going to go through a couple Zoom settings just to make sure that you're set up and you're getting the highest quality image. So first off is audio. If you are using some sort of earbuds or headphones, down in the lower left, there is that mute option, and there's a little icon next to it, an up arrow. If we click that, this opens up some audio and speaker settings. If you plug in a pair of headphones or earbuds, you may have to go and select the actual source. So as you can see, I have the webcam, I have some different audio sources here. You're going to want to select the correct source, and you can always test that by going down here into the audio settings. It should be at the very bottom. In the audio settings window, you're going to have the speaker option here. This will allow you to test the speaker. It'll just play a chime through your headphones or computer speaker to make sure that's working. And then to make sure your audio source is working, you should see this bar moving whenever you talk. You're going to want to make sure that automatically adjust microphone volume is selected, and suppress background noise is set to auto. Next, we can go to the video tab on the left-hand side here above audio. In this video tab, there's only a couple settings we want to make sure are selected. One, we want to make sure that HD button is selected. That's just going to make sure that you have the highest quality image coming out of your webcam. Underneath that, you're going to see that My Video section. And the third option down is Adjust for Low Light. We recommend having that set to auto. You can set that to manual if you want, and that just gives you a slider to manually brighten and darken the image. We recommend auto. That usually does a pretty good job. Touch Up My Appearance is an option that just creates a slight smoothing over any blemishes, and then also Mirror My Video just flips your image. I recommend having all three of these selected. If your internet connectivity is slightly slower, or you do have a history of internet dropping, I would recommend unselecting Touch Up My Appearance and unselecting HD. Lastly, in this video section, I would recommend having always display participant names on their video selected and hide non-video participants. This means that anybody who is joining the live broadcast that doesn't have their camera on will be minimized off to the side, and you're not going to see a logo or name taking up any of the screen real estate. If you're going to be sharing your screen, we're going to want to go to that share screen setting in the setting window on the left. The main settings we want to have selected here is the second from the top checkbox where you see scale to fit shared content to Zoom window. That should be selected. Side-by-side mode can be selected, and then silent system notifications when sharing desktop. This is the main setting we want selected. We're going to go over some best practices for sharing screen momentarily. Lastly, if you do wish to use a background or filter, some sort of virtual background, we can go to this virtual background. It may say virtual background, it may say background and filter depending on the version of Zoom, but we're going to want to go here. You have blur option. You also have the ability to import certain images. If there's nothing here, you can click this plus icon and click Add Image. This will allow you to upload an image from your computer into Zoom and then use that as a background. By just selecting it, it'll change between the different backgrounds. Some computers don't have the capability to use virtual backgrounds. That's totally dependent on the operating system and the internal hardware, processor, etc. of your computer. At this point, we can click out of the settings. There's no need to select Save, as everything is auto-saved whenever you select it. So once you change a setting, you can just click out and it is saved to that device. Now that we've gone over some basic lighting and audio settings and best practices to make us look and sound our best, we're going to go ahead and go over some basic screen sharing. As you can see down here at the very bottom toolbar in Zoom in the middle, you're going to see that green Share Screen button. If we click this, this opens up a selection window. This allows you to select a specific application you wish to share, or share your main screen, or if you have any additional monitors plugged in, you can share those as well. It also allows you to share iPad, iPhone. Basically, it lets you stream from an iPad or iPhone, or it lets you do a whiteboard. In this case, and my recommendation, especially if you're using a PowerPoint presentation, is to just share your main desktop screen. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to click Share. Now, this is what you're going to see whenever you click Share. Your video is minimized, and any other participants in that meeting are going to be minimized off to the side, and your Zoom toolbar is moved up here to the top. As you can see, you have the options to mute, stop camera, and then most importantly, stop sharing. So anything inside this monitor, including icons or other applications, will be shared. It's recommended to close out anything on your computer that you don't need open. So emails, background applications, especially anything that may cause a notification sound. You want all of that closed out, and you want specifically the content you're going to be sharing and the Zoom application open. Now, this is just a basic template PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and start the screen share. I have multiple monitors, so as you can see, everything within this monitor is being shared, not including the Zoom interface. So the audience is only seeing the full screen slides. These interfaces up here, you can move around, but they're only for your reference. They're not going to be seen by the audience. Now, I have multiple monitors, so in that case, you may see this. The primary monitor that you're sharing goes to presenter view, and a second or third monitor goes to the actual full screen slides. There's two ways to do this. You can either share the second or third monitor that has the full screen slides, or if you want to use the full screen slides in your primary monitor, you can go to Display Settings up here at the top, upper left, and click Swap Presenter View. That way, it puts the full screen slides in your primary monitor, and then you have your notes, any annotations, anything that you have in your presenter view off to that second monitor. If you only have one screen and you don't have second monitors, it should automatically go to full screen. Now that my slides are full screen and I'm ready to present, I can use the arrow keys on my keyboard to navigate through my slides, or I can use the cursor to click. Whenever you're done with your presentation, you can just navigate up to the top and click Stop Share. This will stop Zoom sharing, and it should bring you back to the default Zoom window. I can then click Escape on my slides. I can close out this application if I wish. Now, one last tip on sharing screen. If you have any embedded video or audio assets inside of your PowerPoint, whenever you click that Share Screen button, you're going to want to make sure to select Optimize for Video Clip. This will select both Optimize for Video Clip and Share Sound. Make sure both of these are selected if you have any video or audio assets embedded in your presentation, or if you wish to share a video directly from a web browser, such as a YouTube video. Lastly, internet connectivity. We do want to make sure that any other family members or any other members of your household are off of the internet if you can control that. If you're in an office setting, being hardwired is obviously ideal. However, if you are on Wi-Fi, once again, closing out any sort of web browsers or background applications that use internet is highly recommended. The more stable the connection, the better everything will go. And that basically covers it. We've gone over audio, video, screen sharing, and best Zoom settings. Just a quick recap. Regarding audio, we want to eliminate any sort of background noise or any applications on your computer that could cause a notification sound. We also, regarding lighting, want to make sure that we avoid any sort of backlighting or bright lighting directly behind us. This includes lamps or large windows. We want to make sure that's in front of you so you're evenly lit. So facing a light source, clean background, eliminating any sort of in the room background noise. As far as screen sharing, you can share either the entire monitor or a specific application. I usually recommend sharing the entire monitor. That just tends to work better. We also want to make sure that anything you don't want to share, once again, is closed out, such as emails or any sort of personal documents. The only applications that should be open is Zoom and the content you're wishing to share. And with that, this concludes the video overview of best practices on how to look and sound your best for your event.
All right. Oop. Javi, I'll let you kick it off since you just joined us while that video is playing.
Yeah, definitely. Just to give you guys a quick intro, my name is Javi Laredo from Falcon Events. I'm just helping out Andrew here with the Q&A portion of this Tech Check webinar. We're getting really good questions coming in right now. So if you have any questions, feel free to submit them via the chat or the Q&A. Either one, we'll see them. So.
Yeah, and I see that Megan has already began answering some of the questions in the Q&A window, but I do want to make sure that we kind of go over them anyway. Megan, do you want to start us off with some of these answers that you've typed in? You're muted, Megan.
Yep. So there were a couple of questions issued about the live presentations and how you would join the live presentations. And so I just wanted to reiterate that yes, all speakers were given speaker tasks that involved uploading presentation and completing an audio recording. And that is for our on-demand option available for all of our registered attendees. And that will be what is displayed on the GSA meeting program portal through the end of the year. However, all paper and symposia speakers will also be presenting live via Zoom as was just presented according to the schedule that has been provided to you in your speaker tasks under presentation details, also in emails from abstracts@geron.org, or you can navigate to the program portal and identify your session to find the scheduled date and time. 30 minutes prior to your scheduled date and time, there is a join session button that appears on the portal for that session that will be activated. Right now, you should see it. It is grayed out. It is not active. We ask all speakers to join that link at least 15 minutes before your scheduled time. A Falcon technician, as was discussed, will grant you as the speaker co-hosting abilities, which will allow you to share your screen and present your slides.
Fantastic. Yeah, I think a big important takeaway from this meeting and some of the questions you're asking right now will be answered if you log in to the presentation, to the program portal today, tomorrow, kind of as soon as you can, and find your session. That will allow you to favorite it. That will allow you to see the slides and the audio that you may have already uploaded. You'll see that they are attached to your presentation. Those will become available after your presentation scheduled event happens, but you'll see that they are listed as like an icon that they are uploaded onto your presentation. So if you haven't already done so, please go ahead and make sure that you log into the program portal and find your presentation, because that's how you're going to join at your scheduled time. So you want to make sure you kind of know your way to your room, so to speak, in a virtual sense. Let's go ahead and continue to answer some of these questions. We got one here. How do I know if my presentation audio and PowerPoint were received and accepted? If you log into your speaker portal where your speaker task list is listed out, that task should get a green check mark when you're completed with it. Similarly, if you go to the program portal and find your presentation, you'll see a little paper icon as well as a little audio icon to show that there is slides and audio attached to that presentation. So that's how you'll know that you have completed that and you're good to go. Again, that uploaded slide is for people who can't attend your presentation live. So that's going to be a resource for people who, have a scheduling error or can't attend because they're seeing someone else present or they're presenting at the same time. There's a lot of different scheduling conflicts that can happen because we have roughly 30 concurrent sessions happening at any given time during the annual scientific meeting. And I'm just going to jump in and answer this one real quick because this is a popular one. All times listed on the website are in Eastern time. So yes, go ahead. Go ahead, Megan.
Andrew, I don't mean to interrupt, but can you also explain to folks that, yes, they are entered as Eastern time on your speaker tasks under the presentation data. However, I didn't know if you wanted to speak a little bit about the portal, that it actually may display in a different time zone if that's what you elect to do.
So all of the times on our website and on your initial speaker instructions are listed in Eastern time. The first time you log into the program portal and create your profile as an attendee, it's going to ask you if you want the times displayed in your local time zone, and you can name your local time zone. So that's pretty handy for you if you are on the West Coast like me. It's going to automatically convert all the times to your local time, but it will also display everything in Eastern time to kind of show what the show time is for everything else. So when you are on our microsite, or when you are on reading your emails that came to you that list out times, those are all going to be listed in Eastern time. When you look up the presentation information, it will either be listed in Eastern or whatever setting you have set for the program portal. Is everyone but speakers muted in the presentation? Initially, yes. So everyone will come into the session muted. Once speakers join, Javi and the team here at Falcon are going to identify the speakers for every session, and they're going to make all the speakers co-hosts for that session in the Zoom meeting. That's going to allow you to do the screen sharing, and it's also going to allow you to, you can have those controls to mute people or to unmute people. If someone's dog is barking in the background and they don't know that their microphone is on, you can mute them. Everyone else will be coming into the session muted as a default, though. So someone will need to intentionally turn their microphone on if they want to speak. As a moderator, I would like the questions that are registered on Q&A section, right? Yes, I believe so. So when you are in your session, people will be able to type in questions much the same way that we are getting them now. And you can answer them as reading them like I'm doing right now. You can also chat answers back. The way that we typically recommend people take questions in their session is to go through all of the presentations in your session first and save questions for the end. So that way you get through every paper in the session or every presentation inside the symposium, and then take questions after all the presentations happen. That way it allows for, equitable time for everyone's presentations, and questions don't eat up the time for everyone else's presentation. But you will have the opportunity to have people converse. This is a Zoom meeting, so if you want to, you can encourage your attendees to unmute themselves and turn their camera on if they have a question that they would like to elaborate on, or if your group size is smaller, that might be good. We are recommending that people take questions via chat because it's a lot easier to handle if you have a lot of people. So for instance, we have 90 or we have 89 attendees in this webinar right now. We're not going to allow everyone to turn their cameras on, but it makes a lot of sense for us to get questions in a chat format. You will be able to see the number of participants in the session. Yes. So it is a Zoom meeting room. So a little bit different than what we're doing right now. This is technically a Zoom webinar. So that's why you don't see 90 little video screens on the side of your screen when you're in this meeting. But I'm sure most of us at this point have been in a Zoom call or two, and a Zoom meeting is what your presentation is going to be hosted in. So you will be able to see a participant list. You will be able to see, people raising their hands if they do so, as well as them adding any comments to the chat. Let's see what else. So Zoom is for discussion only. No. Keep those questions coming in. I see that we're getting questions in our question box as well as in the chat. So I'm just trying to make sure that I've got everything here.
Here's a pretty good question, Andrew.
Yeah.
Is there a way to connect with others in our session earlier than the 30 minutes prior? It looks like we have someone who's going to be a session chair and wants to make sure everyone knows and understands the order and timing.
Yep. So Megan, do you want to maybe answer that about chairs communicating with their presenters?
Oh, sure. So the join session button, as we said, is to become live 30 minutes prior to the scheduled time. However, if you would like to communicate with those folks that are in your session, whether it be a symposium or a paper session, I would highly suggest navigating and emailing those folks, because there is not a way for the Zoom link to be active prior to 30 minutes, similar to a presentation room in what would have been Phoenix. There are sessions ongoing in that room. And so if we opened up any earlier, it would be joining the previous session. So you can reach out to them via email and have a discussion. I highly suggest that, but it is up to you and you're in the session chairs, but I would suggest going in the order that appears within the program portal. I will note that paper session chairs can be a first author or a speaker on any one of those, and we do encourage the paper session chair to go last, which I do understand would change the order that is listed on the portal. But if there's anything that we can do to help connect everyone, I'm happy to do that. The other thing to note is on the program portal, if you are in a paper session, you will be able to identify who the paper session chair is for that particular session. And obviously, as a symposium, the chair is the person that was responsible for submitting that. And so hopefully everyone on the team is familiar with one another.
Great.
Okay. Yes, I just want to confirm once again that you will be entering your Zoom room via the program portal link that is on that page. So you have to find your presentation, and then there is a join link on that page that becomes live 30 minutes before your session. It's much the same way if you want to think of it like it's a virtual convention center. You know, that room is available for you 30 minutes before your session starts, and you have to navigate yourself to that room and open the door, click on the join session button. That's how you will get into your session. Someone had a question about is their Zoom profile automatically load when they join a session? Yes, it's, you know, if you have your Zoom client downloaded on your computer, your profile will turn on when you, much the same way as if I just emailed you a link for a, you know, Zoom meeting. So it won't be necessarily specific to your GSA account. Whatever you have, kind of your presets, your defaults for your Zoom account will be displayed there. So if you want to make sure that you have your name already set up with maybe your organization or something along those lines, you can add that ahead of time, and it should be available once you join the meeting.
I just wanted to reiterate where you find your Zoom link for your session. When, just as an attendee, when you navigate to that session on our portal and you open up that session or a presentation within that session, in the bottom right-hand corner of that screen, the pop-up screen, you're going to see right now a grayed out join session button. It looks like a little pillbox. That is going to be your Zoom link, and that is what is going to become open or active 30 minutes prior to the scheduled time.
I have a question about, are we responsible for making sure everyone stays muted during the session? It's not your primary responsibility. Like I said, the default is going to be that everyone joins the session muted. And that is going to be, we are not setting it up though so that everyone is locked to be muted. So everyone would have the ability to unmute themselves if they do that. We are expecting a certain amount of professional courtesy so that in the meeting rooms, much the same way we would during a live meeting. But if there is something like one of your presenters has done their presentation and forgot to mute their microphone and their dog is barking or their doorbell is ringing, you do have the ability to mute them much the same way you would during any other normal Zoom call. Okay, let's see what else we've got on the board.
It's like Martha was asking if we have modified our slides from the original submission, can the new ones be uploaded, or is that too late?
Yeah, that's a great question. Megan, I saw you wanted to answer that one, so I'll let you take it.
Sure. So, and I did see earlier a question about, can you present live different slides than were uploaded? And the answer is yes, you can present live different slides. Just please note that the uploaded slides through your speaker text are your on-demand presentation, and that would be the presentation that populates onto the program portal and is available to attendees by the end of the year. Now, as for you've made changes to your uploaded on-demand presentation, and is it too late? It is not too late, but there is a really big asterisk here to note, is if you completed your audio recording, which is based on your uploaded presentation, if you replace that presentation, your audio recording will be wiped, and you do need to complete a new audio recording based on your new uploaded slides. It is possible. I would highly recommend completing that before the live meeting begins on Wednesday. But it is possible. It can be done at any time. And if there's any concerns, you can email me. The best way to reach me would be at abstracts@geron.org. It is live to all attendees, as everyone knows right now too. So it would just replace that file.
Here's a really good question from Deborah. As session chairs, are we supposed to change the view to speaker view or encourage attendees to do so? Also, how will chat be set up? Will attendees be able to chat amongst themselves?
So I think I don't know if the default, Javi, maybe you might be able to answer this. Would the default be set to speaker view when people join the session, or would an attendee have to select speaker view?
As far as I know, it kind of depends on what their last interaction with Zoom is. Sometimes it'll automatically have the gallery view. If you've been on Zoom recently, it'll automatically do that. So yeah, it's highly suggested that if you're not comfortable with a gallery view and you want to switch to speaker view, just head up to the right hand corner where it says view, and you can select which option, whether it be speaker view or gallery view. Keep in mind, this doesn't affect anybody else on that call, only your particular view. So it would be unique to what you're seeing. Somebody else may have it set up differently on their monitors. And as far as the chat goes, the chat will be open to everybody in that room. So if you want to submit a question during a presentation, feel free to do so. Just keep in mind, it may not be answered until the end of until all the presentations, I believe, were completed.
Great. And we had a few questions about navigating the program portal. And I'm kind of thinking maybe I should do a quick screen share to show a little bit about what populates to how to find your presentation. So I am going to share my window here to show you all this window, which is, I searched for, because someone in the chat was asking how to find their presentation. So I used their last name in our search box up here and found these presentations, which popped up. So if I click on this presentation, I'll see here, this is a presentation pop-up that has the abstract information, as well as learning objectives for this presentation. We have the co-authors listed and the author information here. Now you'll see in this window, the slides and the presentation audio are going to be made available after the live presentation. That's why they're grayed out and locked. And the join session button here is also grayed out and locked. This becomes available 30 minutes before the start time of the presentation. You'll also see that my timing may look a little bit different than other folks. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm in Eastern time here. So yes, you'll see here on this bubble, it says only available on Thursday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's when that button will become available. So that's how you are supposed to navigate to and find your presentation, and that's how you will join your presentation. I would recommend, again, that you find your presentation this week ahead of time and click this favorite star up here. That's going to add it to your favorites, and then you'll have a list in your favorites of all of the sessions that you can join very quickly without having to search for your name or search for your session or anything like that.
And Andrew, I see a couple of questions coming through regarding not seeing their name on the program portal. And I will say, feel free to email me so I can specifically troubleshoot that. But as a reminder, in order for your name and your content, meaning your slides and your audio presentation, to display, as I mentioned, it's going to be grayed out for the time being because it's not going to display until after your live presentation. But the confirm annual scientific meeting registration speaker task needs to be completed in order for that information to display on the portal. So email me, I can certainly troubleshoot, but I would also advise everyone to navigate to their speaker tasks and make sure that your confirm conference registration task has a green checkbox. If that is not selected, or if there's any problems, again, feel free to email me, email abstracts@jaron.org, and we can work on fixing that.
We have a good question here about, should we combine our presentations into one or hand off individuals' presentations on a one-by-one basis? I would recommend you hand off. That way you don't have to kind of keep a master slide presentation for your symposium. I think it makes more sense to just kind of pass the microphone, so to speak, to each speaker in the room, and they can share their slides. I think that would just be a little bit easier to manage and maintain, as opposed to having one person drive slides for various different speakers. I think it usually is a little bit more natural for people to drive the slides for their own presentation. But you could do it that way. Technically, there's nothing that would keep you from combining into one presentation and everyone speaking over it. Okay, let's see more questions here.
We've seen one that came in anonymously. Does the order of the presentation must be the same as in the program portal?
No, it doesn't have to be the same. Again, that's what we recommend because it's likely what people will be expecting. But ultimately, when you go into your Zoom room, the chair is in control of the presentation. And if it makes more sense for whatever reason, you guys may have discussed ahead of time that one person present in front of the next is totally acceptable. You're not in violation of anything by doing that. It's just a suggested order based on the original abstract submission. Okay, lots of questions.
There is a question specifically about a chair on a symposium, and their slides are listed on the session and the co-presenter slides if they'd be showing. So yes, so the chair does appear on the overview of the session. And if you scroll to the bottom of that pop-up page, there is the list, almost in a table format, of all of the presentations within that session. And that is where all of the either individual papers or individual symposium abstract information would appear. And they also have their own pop-up window.
And here's a great question about, will there be a staff person present to help if something comes up that the chair and the presenters cannot handle? Yes, that's why we are partnering with Falcon, because they are giving us a whole bunch of techs who will be able to troubleshoot problems as they arise. The techs are going to be in the rooms, and they're going to be the ones who designate all the presenters as co-hosts within Zoom, kind of giving them the special permissions to share their screen. So if there is a technical issue, that tech is available. If there are any other problems, you can notify that technician, something that, if there is any other issue in general, I guess kind of run it up the flagpole. If there's a technician in the room, then you can notify them. They will be able to get in touch with GSA staff. GSA staff will be in and out of rooms over the course of the day, but we don't have 30 people to check the rooms, and we may have that many concurrent sessions happening. So we're going to be in and out of rooms as much as possible. But if you have any issues or problems, there will be someone that you can raise those to.
And Andrew, did you want to mention that each technician will have the name listed as GSA Event Support so that they're able to identify?
Yes, much the same way we have in this session. GSA Event Support is going to be how you identify the technician for your session. So when you join as a speaker, that person, the GSA Event Support, is going to be already the host of that meeting, and they will designate you as co-hosts when you come in so that you can present. We have a question trying to log into the conference program. What is our customer number? Was that emailed to us? Yes, it was. If you had registered prior to Monday of this week, that means you got an email on, I guess, midnight Sunday night with your login information. I believe the title of that email is GSA 2021 Meeting Portal Login Information. It would have come from membership@geron.org, and that will have your login information. If you just registered this week, then it should come with your confirmation information, your login information. Okay.
Seen one.
Yeah, go ahead, Javi.
Question from Rick regarding, will the session chairs curate the chat questions in order to direct the Q&A session after all the presentations?
Yes, that's our recommendation, is that, as you can see, you could get a whole lot of questions all at once, and it makes a lot of sense for kind of one person to feed those questions to the presenters, which is why the chat actually is a really great way to get questions, is that over the course of the presentation, you could get a whole bunch of questions building up so that when it's time to go to the Q&A portion of that, we recommend that the chair or the discussant, if your session has one, help with that process. Now, the roles for who should help in terms of questions, we have that information in our speaker procedures. If you have questions about how to format your symposium, and a lot of that information is on our speakers page on gsa2021.org. So I recommend, if you haven't already gone to that page, please go there. It will have a lot of information about what you are supposed to do as a chair, what you are expected to do as a discussant. And I would recommend that one person, the chair, makes the most sense, feed questions to the presenters when it's time for Q&A.
All right, let's see. Here's an interesting question that I could see possibly popping up is, would we expect attendees to come in and leave the session at various times? If so, might it make some sense to answer a couple questions after each presentation rather than at the end of the session?
That is a little bit of a your mileage may vary kind of question. If you want to answer a question in between presentations, you can. It's not recommended, though. And again, the reason for that is to not get bogged down in questions after one presentation, to make sure that time is equitable amongst the other presentations in the session. It is totally plausible that people may join briefly, may only join to see one abstract and then duck out. That is to be expected. That may happen, but ultimately there's I don't know necessarily if halting the entire presentation to answer one or two questions on is the best way to do that. So that's why we recommend continue with the whole presentation and then answer questions after that.
Andrew, for those that are having trouble accessing the portal, what email address should they contact?
Membership@geron.org is probably the best. If you are having an issue with getting your registration credentials.
Okay, thank you.
I have completed all my speaker tasks and indicated that I will not be doing 2 optional tasks, but the system still says I'm 88% complete. There should be a opt-out button. No, there is not. Megan, I'll let you take that one, so I'm not doing any guesswork.
Yeah, to answer your question, that is fine. And the reason I'm saying that is because most of these tasks, the majority of these tasks, do allow you to fully complete them, either opt out or actually do what the task is asking. But I will say and announce that we are fully aware the closed captioning task does not necessarily allow you to opt out of it. It only is possible if you completed an audio recording. If you opted out of an audio recording for your on-demand task, the closed captioning task is going to remain open, and that is okay.
All right.
While people are sort of entering any of the remaining questions, I think some of the higher level items are to please navigate to the program portal, identify your session. I would recommend favoriting that session so that it's easy to locate the date and time of your presentation. At that time, you will navigate to that pop-up window, select the join session at least 15 minutes prior to the start time. I would also encourage all speakers to navigate to your speaker tasks and make sure that they are all completed with the little asterisk noted that I understand that closed captioning cannot be completed if you did not complete an audio presentation. I would also encourage everyone to navigate to GSA2021.org, which is our meeting microsite. If you navigate there and go to the speakers page, all of the documents that we have emailed everyone over the last couple of months can be found on that page as well. The essential day of guidelines, some technical guidelines, as well as explaining essential GSA procedures for speakers as well.
Follow-up information is that once this presentation is over, we're recording it right now, it will be made available on our speakers page so that you can come back and reference it, particularly that intro video. I know they kind of run through some of the information fairly quickly, but you can look that over again, as well as see the accompanying checklist of Zoom settings, just to make sure that you have everything set up nicely. And then if someone said they want to share this with the presenters in their session, great idea. I think you can point them to that video. Again, we just need to end the recording, turn it around, and post it on the page. So it should be up, I believe, some point tomorrow. I know that we have a question about Q&A separate from the chat. I am not sure that there is a Q&A function separate from the chat in a Zoom meeting. Javi, can you maybe shed a little light on that?
I know during the webinar process, like what we're experiencing right now, there's an option for the Q&A. I'm not, at least in my experience, haven't seen a Q&A option in the regular Zoom rooms, which where majority of these sessions will be taking place. But you can, I guess you would say, if you wanted to ask a question, particularly to an individual, you can definitely select in the chat option where it says to, you can select individuals that you can send that question to. Maybe it's just a very specific question for one person and may not need to be addressed to everyone in the room. You can definitely private message, as they would call it. So
yeah, so I think go ahead.
I would just like to step in and can say that, yeah, there is no separate Q&A function in the Zoom meeting. That functionality is only available in webinars.
Thank you. Yes, that's what I wanted to make sure before. Thank you. So yeah, in order to take questions or text questions or chat questions, they will have to come through the participant chat. There isn't a separate Q&A window like there is in this session for your scientific sessions. Okay. Let's see if we've got any other outstanding questions here. I'm not seeing anything new popping up. So if you do have any new questions coming in, please speak now as we are in the last tail end of this meeting. Site does not import all my profile information. So when you join the meeting site for the first time, it will allow you to complete your attendee profile. This information is held separately from the kind of author listing information that you may have already filled out when you uploaded your slides. It's just how you will be seen by other attendees. It's optional with how much information you fill out when you first join that program portal.
Yes, I would reiterate your speaker profile is completely separate from your attendee profile.
And I went to my session, but I only, I was answering a question and they found it and submitted it as a separate question. That's great. So yes, I would also just say as a quick heads up, navigating the program portal, I recommend using the search feature to find yourself and to find topics that you're interested in. It's a very powerful tool. We do have lots and lots of sessions at the annual scientific meeting. So use the search feature. It's a great way to find specific information quickly. And with that, we've only got a few minutes left, and it doesn't look like we have a lot of questions coming in.
Andrew, there's a lot of questions about customer numbers. Do you want to speak a little bit to that? I believe folks can access, well, I don't want to speak where they can access their customer number, but do you have any recommendations of where they can find that?
Yes, that should come to you after you register. Your customer number, it's in your registration confirmation information to help you log into the website. That is because that's the credential that you should be using to log in. And I believe it's also available on your GSA dashboard. So if you go to geron.org and log into our website there, your member dashboard will have your customer number there as well. So since that's the credential that you use to log in, it should be resent to you when you register. You can find it online when you log into your account at GSA. And if all else fails, I would recommend giving us a call at 202-842-1275. That's our membership line. It will help you with getting your login credentials if you've registered for the meeting.
Awesome. I'm not seeing any new questions pop in.
Fantastic. And I see that we are just about at time. So I think with that, I'm going to thank everyone with Falcon for joining us this afternoon. Appreciate all of your technical guidance. Thank you, Megan, for answering all the questions that I cannot. And I want to thank everyone else who has joined the session, who asked a lot of great questions. I'm sure it was very helpful for everyone to hear everyone else's questions. I know that's how I always learn the most. So with that, look for a recording of this on our speakers page, and most questions, if you have any additional ones, can be answered by going to that speaker page and looking over the materials we have posted there. Thank you, and good luck everyone next week with your presentations. It's going to be great.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.